Hi everybody, it's Miss Miranda. I'm excited to do a science experiment with you today. Did you know that we can actually make new things by combining certain things together? In science, we can make new things through reactions. If you've ever done baking before, like baked chocolate chip cookies, you know that if you put flour and sugar and maybe some milk or chocolate chips together, and then you put it in the heat of the oven, that you can actually make something new out of those ingredients. You can make chocolate chip cookies. So today, we're going to do an experiment about how we can make something new or see a reaction happen by adding milk. I've got some milk here, and some food coloring and soap together. We are focusing on some Head Start Early Learning Framework goals. The first is for children to observe and describe observable phenomena. In this case, we'll be looking at how milk and soap react. Second, for your child to engage in scientific talk. We'll be using some vocabulary today and learning some new vocabulary related to science words. Third, for your child to ask questions and to make predictions, gathering information. And finally, for your child to plan and conduct investigations and experiments. We are going to do an experiment here together today. Let's go over what we need. So, the first thing I have in front of me is a pie dish. You could use any sort of flat dish. We just want to make sure that there's enough room for all of our colors to spread out. I've also got some Dawn dish soap, various assorted food coloring, so you can see the various assorted food coloring here. I've got some whole fat milk. I'm using half and half today, but you could certainly use like whole milk, potentially 2%. It should work with that as well. And then I've also got a little dish. We're going to use the dish for something else later with some Q-tips in it. So last but not least, I've got some coloring utensils. You could certainly use crayons or even paint. You could use pens. And then just a couple pieces of blank printer paper because we're gonna record our results here at the end. It's time to get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm gonna take my milk and I'm gonna unscrew it. And we just want a little bit of milk in our container. And kiddos, you can work with a grown-up to do this because sometimes milk comes in big containers. So we just wanna be super careful, get our milk nice and close, and we're just gonna pour and cover just the bottom of whatever pan we have. So we don't need to use all the milk, we're just trying to cover the bottom. And then I'm gonna screw my cap back on. Now before we get started, let's just observe what we have here. What does it smell like? Not much. What does it look like? What color is it? Are there bubbles inside of it? What do you notice about the milk that you see in your pan? What does it feel like? Maybe dip a finger in it. Ooh, my milk is very cold. It's very wet. Let's see. It also tastes very creamy. So notice what you have in front of you. Make some observations about what you see. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add some colors. I'm gonna pull out my colors to our milk. And so hopefully you've got lots of different colors you can use. I've got some green and some blue and some red. Now, I'm hoping that we can make a prediction or a hypothesis about what's gonna happen when we add some colors. So a hypothesis is when we make an educated guess about something that's gonna happen. So I use the things that I know to make a very smart guess about what might happen. Now, I know that my milk is liquid, right? It's not hard. Yeah, I can stir it around. It's just kind of like water. I also know that this is liquid. When I shake it, it moves. So when we add two liquids together, oftentimes they spread out, right? They separate, they move. So, I think I'm going to predict that when I add this, it's gonna make a little, it's gonna spread out just a little bit, but not too much because I'm only gonna add one drop. So let's see, I'm gonna add some blue first. Maybe 1, 2, awesome, okay. Now, the next step is I'm going to add some soap to my little dish. So again, I don't need very much. So be very careful with your soap, just pouring a little bit, because all we need to do is really dip. So I just put a tiny bit in there. We just need to dip our Q-tip into the soap. So we're gonna get it very soapy. Now, I would like for you to make another prediction. What is going to happen when I dip my soapy Q-tip into my milk? Is anything gonna happen? Are the colors gonna change? Think about what you think might happen. Make a prediction, make a hypothesis, an educated guess about what you think might happen. Okay, let's give it a try. We're gonna see if we're correct. Whoa! I don't know if you can tell, but all of the colors are spreading everywhere. So this is what happened to my milk with all of my drops of food coloring in it. So let me show you up close one more time. So when I put in my, it moves and all of the colors start to flow together. Let me try it over here one more time. Whoa, look at that. What's happening here? Why did the milk move? Why did the colors spread apart? Why did they dissipate? Those are some great questions. I wonder if you have any hypotheses about what happened. Why does the soap react with the milk and the colors? I have some answers for you, and I wonder if your hypothesis was correct. So, everything around us, including our milk and including our soap, is made up of tiny building blocks. So if you can imagine some Legos, right? We've got little Legos and we can put them together to make something bigger, right? We could make a house out of Legos. It's a house, but it's made of little pieces of little Legos. Same thing with our milk. Our milk is milk, but it is made out of molecules, tiny little things that we can't even see. And they all come together and they make milk. Now, very interesting. Some molecules are attracted to other molecules, and some molecules are repulsed by other molecules. What does attract mean? Attract means that two things want to come together. Repel means that two things do not want to be together, like magnets that don't want to be together. So, the molecules in our milk and the molecules in our soap want to be together. So the soap molecules, when I add them to my milk, they go hunting. They go hunting for fat molecules in our milk. So when we add our soap, all of those molecules in the soap start to spread out, and it makes all of our colors spread out too. Was your hypothesis correct? I know that's some tricky things to think about. All right, scientists, so one thing that's super important when we conduct experiments is, right, asking questions. What do you see? What do you notice? What do you observe? Making hypotheses. I predict that when I add soap to the milk, all the colors will spread. Sometimes our hypotheses are correct, sometimes they aren't, and that's okay. But we also want to make sure that we document what we learn, right? So that we can tell other scientists what we learned. So, I'm going to move my milk very carefully. Whoa, all the colors are spreading again. Awesome. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull out a piece of printer paper. And we're gonna find our colors. Let's see, I've got lots of colors here. And we're gonna draw a picture of our final results. What happened in our dish? What happened in our dish? So I'm gonna go ahead and make a drawing, and I hope that you'll make a drawing with me. I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, so here's what I drew, everybody. I drew a sort of before picture where you can see all of the dots in the pan. And then I drew an after picture, what happened when all of the colors spread. All right, awesome job with your experiment today, everybody. That was amazing. I learned a lot. I would love for you to find a grown-up and tell them, what did you learn today? What's one thing that you learned? All right, so I would love for you scientists to continue doing experiments, to continue asking tricky questions and making hypotheses about what's happening in the world around you. Pretty exciting, awesome stuff today, everybody. So Please do go ahead and check out the lesson plan below. It includes a lot more information on what makes this exercise developmentally appropriate, culturally appropriate, individually appropriate, and lots more questions and prompts that you can use with your student to get them thinking and engaging with the goals based on the Head Start Early Learning Outcomes framework. So, awesome job today, everybody. I will see you next week for another lesson. Thanks, everyone.